Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of A Few Short Minutes, the pod, where I want to remind you that it literally takes just a few short minutes a day to physically rewire your brain for a better life. Today, you guys, I have a guest who I'm super excited to have, and I've not had a guest like her before. So this is going to be fascinating conversation. You guys welcome this beautiful soul. Her name is Linda. She is an intuitive tarot reader, psychic, and evidential medium. Okay, Linda, introduce yourself and tell me what all those things mean to you.
So obviously I'm an intuitive tarot reader and a psychic evidential medium. Well, intuitive tarot to me is more of like you use your intuition rather than the guidebook or whatever book comes with tarot. But I use both intuition and the guidebook, so I don't completely make up the meanings of the tarot cards. And then for psychic evidential medium, in my opinion, and my personal experience, I'm not saying what I'm saying is wrong, but it's just my personal experience. Psychic medium is more like you're using your psychic abilities or your sixth senses to sense the spirits around you and stuff like that. Where
Very
evidential
cool.
medium, you're more evidence and focus based on the spirit. Like for example, I can just sense your grandmother around, but then that's it. I don't really go in depth or detail about exactly who this grandmother is. So I try to verify and pinpoint, okay, so she's giving me this, give me this, give me this. This very in-depth and detail about this grandmother coming through. So I mean, everybody can be a psychic medium, but they don't present or bring forth information or evidence, what we like to call it, about your loved one.
I love that so much. So tell me, I have so many questions. I have so many questions because this realm of human beings absolutely fascinates me. Because I think, like you said, most of us have the capabilities of being psychic, right? I know my intuition is pretty strong in some cases, and I know it could be stronger in more. And so I understand, like, I get that part, what you said, like everybody's psychic. How did you know that you had, like, from what I understand, and please educate me if I'm wrong, but everybody's psychic when they're younger and then they kind of shut it down, right? For whatever multitude of reasons that it could be there. How did you not shut down? Or did you shut down and then rediscover? Tell me about that.
Well, I wasn't spiritual at first at all. I wasn't spiritual. I mean, I did grow up like with spiritual activities through my culture, like shamanism, but we were told that you have to be chosen by spirits to be a shaman. So I just kind of like stay away from the shaman side. But it didn't really start until like almost 5 years ago, where I really jumpstart my spiritual journey. And it's actually my friend's uncle that has passed jumpstart my mediumship journey without my permission or knowledge. Like me and her were just talking Facebook Messenger, and she went away from the camera, I think, to deal with her kids. And I have a pen and paper with me, so I was just drawing whatever to keep myself busy at the time. And just a bunch of random words came to me, and I was like, okay. So I just wrote it down, and as soon as she came back to the camera, I was like, does any of these words mean to you? And she just went down the list. She's like, yes. Oh my God, it's my uncle that has passed. So he really jumps on my mediumship journey.
Oh my gosh, fascinating. So you didn't know that about the uncle, and he just kind of came through you through some kind of like automatic writing-ish kind of stuff. And then you were like, hey, friend, weird. And she was like, yo, that's my uncle. What did you think right then? Like, did you freak out? I think I would have freaked out a little bit personally.
I wasn't freaked out. I was more like in denial, just because I know my culture is spiritual, but I didn't think it could happen to me. Because, you've been taught and heard so many times that you have to be chosen, you have to be born these gifts, and people just talk so mainstream about it, like, you have to be chosen. And when I step into more the mediumship, I realized that you don't have to be chosen. Everybody's psychic enough as it is, and your childhood is proof that you're psychic and stuff.
Yeah. So talk about that. How's the childhood proof that you have these gifts?
Well, for childhood, you can have imaginary friends. Is a good example.
Sure.
some kind of paranormal activity, nothing too scary, but just something that makes you question as a kid is like, nobody was here kind of thing. And I think one of the main things for me in my case is where my parents, they brush it off. Like, oh no, no, it's okay. Or your parents kind of acknowledge it, but still in denial in kind of way too. But for me, in most cases I've seen is having imaginary friends or talking to loved ones that has passed and stuff.
Yeah. And what did now looking back after you had this awakening 4 or 5 years ago, and looking back to your teenage years, to your childhood years, what did that validate for you when you had this awakening and you went, oh, this is real? What did you go back and look at for your childhood and teenage years and go, then that must have been real too? And I wasn't imagining that, because that's totally where I would go.
For me, in my case, I would go back to where I want to say elementary school age. Um, Me and my stepbrother or half brother, whatever you guys want to call it. Um, Keep in mind that he was still on diapers. I was still elementary school age. You know those laundry baskets, the solid colored ones, but has no holes in it. So I had a laundry basket on top of me, and we were playing hide and seek. So, the way I was positioned was like this, and then I seen like a half body, the lower half of body ran across the room. It was cut in half. And I was like, oh shoot, okay. So I lifted the bucket. I was like, okay, nobody was there. And then I heard my mom yelling at my brother in the other room. So I was like, okay, that's my experience as a kid. But then as grown up as a teen, adult, I didn't really have paranormal experiences because again, I didn't really believe in it until I had to experience it myself. So being a skeptic of mine, I didn't really have any paranormal experiences, which I thought, okay, I guess I'm not special or spirits are real, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you help people now with these beautiful gifts that you have?
Um, well, it depends on what services or psychic services they come to me for tarot or mediumship. But for tarot, I don't do any like legal, health, pregnancy cases just because I don't qualify for that. Um, but when
Sure.
like I just do the usual like love, career, money. I try to stay away from future and time frame just because free will comes in play. But when it comes to tarot, I always tell the people or my clients that tarot can just be like advice, confirmation, validation, reassurance, or guidance. It's not really a set answer. It depends on that moment that you need from tarot and stuff like that too. And then, but when it comes to mediumship, in my case, it's 50-50. One is just to hear or see who's around, and the other ones is to get validation, confirmation, or something about your suspicion of someone's passing. But it's rare to get the confirmation someone's passing, stuff like that.
Yeah. And how does this work for you? Do you see messages and pictures? Are you like clairsentient, clairaudient? Like what do you qualify yourself as, if
For me,
anything?
oh sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's
No, no,
clairvoyance,
no.
like a clear seeing, and then clairsentient, and then claircognizance. And then that's most main three. But really, to me, in my personal experience, it depends on the spirit because they will play around with your psychic abilities too. And so there are most cases where I do get clear audience where I'm hearing some music or I'm hearing something in my mind, but it's within my own voice too. Um, Sometimes I get physical symptoms. So maybe if your loved one has arthritis, I would start doing this or have some numbing or something. It's just like, do you have arthritis? So it really they kind of help me pinpoint. And then if they're a smoker, they smoke cigarettes, I start coughing or I can smell cigarettes. So it really depends on the spirit.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And so you just really trust that. So you've got a lot of, what I'm hearing is you personally have built up a lot of self-trust that your intuition is guiding you and giving you facts, right? Like it's true what it's telling you, and you're trusting that your knowing is factual for you or actual for you. And I think a lot of people don't have that. How did
Mhm.
you develop that self-trust? Because I'm sure when the uncle came through 4 to 5 years ago, you were like, what do I do with this now? Like, how do I, what is this? Right. So, talk about that, learning to trust that this is true for you.
Um, the trust, I think it just comes from your clients to confirming or validating the information that comes through. Just for example, let's say I bring up apple tree, and then the client said, yes, my mom had an apple tree in the backyard. So just getting the confirmation validation really helps you build a trust. And then I think even if like your clients don't know what an apple tree is, maybe other family members do know what apple tree is to them too. So that's why you said earlier, I have the complete trust in myself and the spirit, whatever that come through. And I just feel like sometimes the mind or the ego can get in the way. So in order to really kind of overcome that, you really had to really practice self-discipline and holding yourself accountable, and the level of awareness too. Because you don't have those three things, then your energy can kind of influence the reading. And so that's just my personal
Ooh,
experience.
talk about that, because I'm a coach. So self-awareness and accountability are like currency for me, right? Between me and my client. Talk about why you need that and what that looks like in your intuitive reading, because it looks different for everybody for whatever they're doing, right? Accountability can, or self-awareness can. What does that look like for you? What do you mean when you say self-awareness and accountability?
Self-awareness to me is where knowing when your beliefs or views gets in the way of the reading. For example, your loved one, they can be your client's loved one can bring up hell, but it doesn't mean that kind of hell. It just sometimes it can be mean your client and their loved one gave each other hell back in the days. Just kind of fun poking. So it's very important to kind of leave your views and beliefs out of the reading and come in neutral terms. Because if you don't, then you're getting in the way of the true message being delivered. So you have to hold yourself accountable, coming in a neutral approach. Because if you don't, then what are you really doing? And stuff.
I love that. So what I teach my clients is to get curious, right? Have no judgment, have no expectation, but get curious about why they do what they do. And that then fosters self-awareness. So I love that you have that in a spiritual realm too, of like you said, hell could mean heaven and hell, or it could mean give them hell, like joking around, or it could be, like my life is hell, like it's blowing up. And so if you're coming in thinking it's one, you're not going to hear the others. And if you go in like into a habit change thinking this is how it's going to be, it's not going to stick. So you have to be curious and open your view to what could this look like. And I love that you do that in your readings as well. What do people need to know about your capabilities, and either cool things that it can do or that you can do with it, or limitations? Because I know there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of fakes out there who don't help, right? And so what do you want people to know about your capabilities and your services?
I just want people to know when it comes to getting like a psychic reading, um, let me start with tarot because there's so many psychic readings. For
Sure.
tarot, when it comes to getting like tarot readings, try to kind of stay away from yes or no questions, because tarot don't really necessarily answer yes or no questions. Like for me, when I do yes or no questions, I have to dig up so many cards just for one answer. So for me, I usually prefer my clients to ask when, how, and where questions to get more meaning out of the reading. Again, no legal health pregnancy readings. Missing items or person's case, I personally don't do them. I know people who uses tarot to kind of do it, but I don't, just because I'm scared that I may be off, and I don't want to be responsible for something that happens to you. And then so when it
Sure.
comes to tarot reader, I'll just say, besides the question, make sure the tarot reader they show you the card, or not flash it, but they actually show you. Sometimes it can be a reverse or reversal, upside down. Make sure you see the card, because if they're just pulling cards and laying on the table and you don't see it, then I'll kind of like be cautious, just because they could be making things up and not really go with the meanings too. Um, and for me, I usually like showing my clients the cards, just because I usually tell them, if you don't think the meaning of the card is correct, please feel free to go back after me. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm down to being corrected if I'm wrong. And I wouldn't need your first name, any personal information, nothing. I don't need that. I just need your energy or your question, you know. And
Yeah.
sometimes I don't need to see your face to face or whatever, or your picture. I just need your energy, you know. Um, and then palms, I don't think I really need palms, but the people who do palm readings, I don't. I just personally think it's up to you, you know. But when it comes to like mediums, they shouldn't. Their reading shouldn't really be all about traumas and stuff like that. I mean, it can be brought up by loved ones for like evidence, but it shouldn't be really all about traumas, negative or something. It should be all about evidence or information that makes sense to you that you can confirm. For me, I know there's some mediums out there who does pregnancy, missing cases, but for me, I don't, just because I feel like if they're not certified or in that professional, then they shouldn't really give out. But
Sure.
I noticed some who does, have a good, healthy, clean, consistent track of, reviews. So it's up to you. Again, it's really up to you when you do pregnancy missing cases, just because not everybody is really meant for that, So leave it up to the professionals or certified ones.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure like you've got your strengths somewhere, and then other people have their strengths in other areas anyway, just like humans exist naturally, right? Some of us are natural athletes, some of us are singers, some of us, but they're all talents, but some of us are just stronger in other areas. Is that the same for mediumship and psychic,
No, I
intuitive?
think it's more of avoiding lawsuit.
Oh, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. So you could if you wanted to, but you just don't touch that area ethically.
Yeah, because of a lawsuit. Like I said, I don't want to be responsible
Yeah.
for anything that isn't true. And then it just kind of really goes back to where, whether, do they ask your personal information? Do they need a picture of your loved ones or something? I just feel like the less evidence information you give me, the better. Because I need to be able to present it and bring forth it to you, not you giving me the evidence. You know? Um, what's so hard about it nowadays, that even there's like genuine mediums out there, even the reviews doesn't really like give you like the red flag or something's up about the person. I will go to their stream and see how they interact with haters and bad reviews and stuff. Just do a little bit of research on them. I'm not saying do a background search. I'm just saying do a little bit of research. There's other social media platforms that you can kind of like search up about person, about how they are as a reader and everything. But like I
Mhm.
said, for me, I don't personally want any
That
psychic to
liability.
fish me for information and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And so it sounds like you stream. Do you stream?
I do sometimes on Facebook, but not really. I just mostly do one-on-one sessions.
One-on-one sessions. And what's like been maybe your favorite story that came out of tarot and a reading?
Um, I think I'm trying to remember the session I can publicly talk about. Because I respect my clients' confidentiality too.
Oh yeah,
So I'm
no. Absolutely. Please protect them. Yes, please.
yeah. So I'm trying to find something that's already on my TikTok that I can talk about. Really simple example. So I had this woman, she came to me, and then she didn't have any expectations about loved ones that came through. She just wanted to know who's around. So towards the end of the reading, her son that has passed came through. And then I was like, did you have any like suspicions about your son's passing? She's like, yeah. So I was like, okay. So we just kind of wrote down the information that was brought through, and then I was like, towards the end, I was like, so what I'm getting and what your son's telling me that there's a female feels like potentially a romantic interest that was involved in his passing. And then she said, yeah, that I had suspicion of it. She said, yes, thank you for confirming my suspicion. But then they rule it as suicide. And then, but they forgot to mention that his girlfriend is the cause of his suicide. So to me, it was brought up as murder, suicide stuff.
Ah,
So,
yeah. Kind of like that case in Florida where that girl was texting her boyfriend, just do it, end it. And she was charged with unaliving him, even though he did it by his own hand. And she's in jail now in Florida because of that. It's there now. There's a bullying law because of her and because of his death. So that's amazing that it sounds like you were able to give that mom some clarity and some closure, even though it confirmed her suspicions, and the police were like, meh. Just that knowing in itself is solace for her, like she's not wrong, and he didn't do it by himself, right? He was kind of, it sounds like he was forced or coerced into it. So wow, that's some level of comfort that people wouldn't get otherwise. They just kind of wouldn't go there. She would always have this question. And so I love that you were able to give that to her. That must feel amazing for you.
it does. Like I said, it's not the first or last time I'll get sessions like that where I have to confirm for clients' suspicions and everything. It's to me, I seem to attract mothers whose son has been killed by the hands of their romantic interest, and it really saddens me because you always see in the mainstream how men are the cause of women's death. Men are evil and stuff like that. But in my case, women are evil too. In 1,000 years, I can never imagine a woman killing my son. So I mean, like it just goes both ways. But it's really it's making me emotional. But it really hurts.
No, no, it
Especially when
should.
you have a son. But
Yeah,
it
I
is
have
what it
two.
is.
Yeah, I have two boys. And so that's a nightmare of mine, right? That's a concern of them just growing up in the world, and let alone getting their heart broken like we all have. But then, you never know. You never know about people. And so I get that. I get that. Uh so what do you tell me about your life? Like, are you just going about your day and then you get a little whisper in your ear? Are you able to have boundaries and shut it down and tell people not right now? Like, I've heard both stories. What's it like for you?
For me, I am able to have a quote unquote normal life. I am able to. But for me, my practice or how I do my mediumship, I set rules and boundaries. And I told my spirit team or spirit guides, whatever you guys want to call it, I told them, hey, I have this certain, time, a cutoff time and open time for spirits. And usually for my case, since I have kids, I told them, whenever I do readings, please allow spirits to come through. When I'm not doing readings, don't let anybody come through. So it's really how you work your craft and your environment and your situation. So for me, I'm able to shut it off and stuff.
That's awesome. Talk about your spirit guides. I find that fascinating. So you've got a team that works with you, protects you, allows people to come through, shuts them down. How did you know? How did you develop that relationship with them?
I'm assuming I only have 3 so far that I'm able to confirm and validate, but the rest of them, probably family members I never met before and stuff. So, but the ones that I'm comfortable with, and maybe the deity I work with or the goddess I work with, maybe, but it's rare for her. But my 3 spirit guides, I just feel like I really they know already. Because like 2 of them are my mother-in-laws and one's my best friend, so they already know how I work and I don't work. So they basically got my back without me telling them.
That's cool. So how did you find out that they were your spirit guides? Did they come and they were like, "Yo, Jade, what up? We're here to help you." Or was it
um
just like a knowing or a whisper? Like, and that's cool. Both your mother-in-laws and then the best friend. I couldn't think I would want my bestie if she was on the other side. I would definitely want her having my back like that, because that's the ideal situation. So how did you figure out that find out that's who it was?
Um, Sometimes I would do reading exchanges with other mediums, and they will come through for them. But it's different for each reading. The same ones may not come through each time, so it's kind of like they take turns.
They kind of take turns so they can get a
Mhm.
lunch break. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, yep.
Like, it's my weekend. It's your day to watch her. Leave me alone. What's it like being a kid in your house? Do they try to get things over on you? Do they try to maybe lie to mom a little bit? I can't imagine I would do that if I was your child, because you'd suss it out in a second between mother's intuition and then your heightened intuition. I can't imagine them getting away with anything.
Um, Obviously they can't get away with nothing, but my son, he's the most sensitive one. He's the oldest, and he's the most sensitive one. And according to him, he says he can see them. So whenever there's something, a new spirit or something scary to him, he usually tells me right off the bat. So he lets me know. But if it's
That's
any of the
awesome.
other spirits that he already seen before and he feels like they're not any harm, he doesn't bother telling me. So me and him have established that trust in the relationship. And my other kids, I feel like they ignore the spirits. They just ignore it, like, okay, bye, whatever, you know. So it's really different, funny to see the dynamics of my kids they have.
Yeah, yeah, I bet, especially if you know one that is, is absolutely sensitive, and then the others are like,
Yep.
right, I don't know, maybe. Um, that's very cool. And so when you say your son sees them, and then when you say you see them, do you see them as humans? Do you see them as balls, light, energy, fog? Like, what does that look like when you guys see spirit?
Um, I can't really tell for my son, but I just feel like it's his clairvoyance. It's like visual images in our mind and stuff. But for me, it is visual images in my mind. Sometimes it can be literally words, the fonts. So
Words and fonts. That's
yeah,
cool. Do they write in, like, Times New Roman or Comic Sans, or it's just kind of
I think it's just New
like,
Times Roman because that seems the usual font for me. But other
okay,
fonts,
like a
no.
computer font?
But visual images, it's more like cartoon ish.
Huh,
I don't get the
that's
exact
cool.
description of how your loved ones look. It can just be like a very generic picture, and then they'll use my other psychic abilities like the clairsentience to kind of make me feel about what they look like and everything. And during my readings, I'll let you know too. I see, I feel, I smell, or there's a movie playing in my head. I'll point out my psychic abilities to you in my readings.
That's very cool. That's very cool. What's something that somebody could do to maybe reawaken their abilities, whatever those abilities may be?
I would say, I know tarot cards are a little bit more complicated, but I will start with oracle cards. Just cards that already has words on them, or Zener cards. Zener cards are good ones too to start out with.
I don't know what those are. I know what tarot and oracle ones. Zener, like Zinner.
Z E
How do you?
Zener. It's like the plain white cards with shapes on them and
Oh,
colors.
those are what those are called.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I know okay, I know what they are. I just didn't know. I didn't know that's what they were called.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you're old enough to get this reference, but like on Ghostbusters, the original movie, where Dr. Venkman is holding up the cards, and the girl's getting it, the guy's getting it right all the time, and the girl's getting it wrong, but he keeps shocking the guy because he wants to date the girl. Those kind of cards.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Um, and so they're gonna either have somebody hold them up, back to them, and they're gonna guess the shape, or they're gonna guess the shape before they turn it over, type stuff. What should they tap into? If they don't know what their abilities are, if they don't know if they're clairvoyant, clairsentient, any of that, clairaudient, how can they at least tap into whatever that is? Is there a meditation? Is there a phrase? Do they call in their spirit guides? I've seen all of this. So how does it work for you?
Um, for me, how I do it, I actually let you connect to my guides. And that's where I play along with your psychic abilities. I was like, okay. I was like, so who do you feel stepping forward? Do you feel anything? I kind of guide you through your psychic abilities by connecting with my guides. And whatever you point out, I encourage it. Yeah, keep going, keep going. And then once they stop and get a little bit like frustrated or angry, I'm like, no, it's okay. Are you receiving anything else? I kind of guide you into your own development, to psychic abilities. And then sometimes I'd be like, well, if you're struggling this part, maybe they're asking you to do something else. Are you feeling any physical
Oh,
sensations? Are you feeling numbness, tingliness, stuff like that? I kind of guide you. I don't work for you. I guide you, kind of thing.
yeah. Yeah. I love that. And what I heard there again was about the self-trust, right? That seems to be kind of the foundation for tapping into your abilities, period, is trusting that what you're seeing, hearing, feeling, it is significant and is true and guiding you some way versus, oh, a random stomach pain or suddenly I thought of this song that I hadn't in 20 years. Like, those are not coincidences, is what I'm trying to say there, correct?
Hmm.
Um, have you ever had a coincidence that you thought it's just a coincidence and then it was like, nope, that wasn't a coincidence?
Let me think.
N-
I don't think so. I have a lot of deja vu moments, though, for sure. A lot of deja vu moments. But coincidences? No, I don't think I'm that special enough.
what does deja vu mean to you? Like when you get deja vu, we all know what it is, and some of us have experienced it, but what is the meaning there for you?
For me, when I get deja moments, it just feels like I've been there before, or I've done this
Right.
before.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I tried to learn more about it, but I didn't know until I got a past life regression done, professionally done. And so the way my past life regression, she explains it, deja vu moments, is where like your soul kind of like pinpoints little maps for you. Does that make sense? So it's kind of to
Yeah.
let you know
Yeah.
you're on the right path, kind of thing.
Fascinating. That's kind of how I've put meaning to deja vu my whole life, is like, okay, I must meant to be here now, no matter how mundane the deja vu was, but it's just kind of like affirmation, confirmation that, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. Um, and and yeah, that's how I've kind of always taken it. I know some people just go, oh, it's just your brain creating things because it likes to create things, and they don't see the bigger meaning, or they just see different than I do, right? Um, and so that's interesting, because my one of my sons has deja vu quite often, and I did as when I was younger as well. I don't get it as often now, but I used to a lot when I was in my like teens and in my 20s. So I would like to have it back. I definitely use it as a guide. So I like it when I get deja vu, and no matter how it creeps me out at the time, because it just does. You're like, why would I have been here before in like in a random gas station in the middle of Iowa? Why is now like why am I getting this now?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, you just kind of you either dismiss it or you just go, okay, okay, I hear you. I don't know what that means, but okay, I'm here. I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. What do you like to do when you're turned off?
For me, I honestly enjoy spending time with my kids. I know it's weird to say, but in my case, I was a store manager for Dollar General, so I worked 60, 70, 80 hours, and I wasn't barely home with my family or my kids.
Yeah,
So I was, I guess, what we call it in the hustle culture, where we hustle or work and everything, and
very much
I just
so.
got burned out. So now I'm trying to learn to live life slowly and be more present with the family and kids and stuff.
Yeah, regulate that nervous system, girl. Absolutely. I think any of us that are on a healing journey, that is definitely where we all are right now, is just like, let's regulate my nervous system. Let's let it calm down. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to produce in order to be worthy of being here on this planet. And yeah, that grind culture, hustle culture, whew, it is hard to get out of and hard to like unravel from
Hmm.
all of that stuff. It's a constant battle with me, moving from 45 hours a week in an office and people to answer to coaching,
Hmm.
and being able to connect one-on-one like this, or and not having to produce, but just listen. And that is a production, like I get that, but it's not the same feeling, right? It's not the
Hmm.
same feeling, because this, and I think you'll agree with me, it's my calling. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And so it feels like I'm cheating the system, because
Yeah.
uh I'm not hurting in doing this. Like, I'm not miserable, and that's weird. It's weird to be able to produce money, right? A money producing activity that you love. It's just very strange for me. So I'm constantly fighting that. How many years out are you from not being in hustle culture to today?
Almost a year.
I'm 18 months out. So yeah, I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. Um, wow, that's fascinating. What's something that people should know? What's something that your guides have told you, or that you've heard through a reading, that you think, yeah, more people should know that?
Um, I think mostly it's from my clients' loved ones. They mostly stress about spending more time with family, making connections, making memories. Um, Again, they want to go back to about it's not always about the money, but making memories because you work so much that you forgot that your family existed, you know? So they'll always stress
Yeah.
about that. Um, the common things now, late recently in my readings, it seems to be about trauma bonding relationships. I'm not talking about romantic ones, I'm talking about friendships too. Or any relationship can be trauma bonding. You don't you,
Familial. It could
yeah.
be familial. It could be family. You could trauma
Mhm.
bond family. Ooh, I just got goosebumps.
Even
Woo!
like I think in most cases, like I said, my most theme is like friendship. Like just for example, you and me have depression, and we build off our friendship based off our depression. And my loved ones be like, no, build genuine connection. Actually, get to know her. Don't get to know her through her depression and stuff.
I get that. Okay. Okay. I get that. So, while it might be something that you have in common, don't build the relationship on just that. See the person for the whole person, not just for a snippet in time of what they might be experiencing, which I absolutely love. Um, because I've had my own mental health struggles. I've been very open about them, and I don't want people to see me as just that, because I am so much more than just that. And I think that if I built a relationship with somebody based on my ADHD or my depression, that it's not going to be a solid it's not going to be a solid, fruitful, evolving, growing relationship. It's just going to be this blip in time, which is fine. Those You need those too. You need those too. But I think we convince ourselves that it's got to be bigger than that, and people have to stay, and that's not true. They don't have to stay. Um, and I think that, yeah, that trauma bond, I've definitely dealt with that in my life, and it is
Yep.
nasty. It is
Yep.
nasty to break. It is nasty to break. And again, like she said, you guys, she's getting a lot of friendship trauma bonds. It can be romantic partners. It can also be family. Also be family. And while she is talking about her guide saying, spend more time with family, blah, 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 I want to make a caveat here. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, Linda. What they're also saying is spend time with quality people. And so if your mother is toxic, and your mother is toxic, this isn't for you. That's not you. That's not who she's talking about. please protect yourself. And so just because they're family doesn't mean they're good for you. But is that, would you agree with me that your guides are saying spend time with quality people, not just because they have this label and you should be?
Yeah, just whatever you consider family and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Loose interpretation of
Sure.
family there,
Yeah.
which I love, because I have people closer to me that I've chosen than I was born with. And I wouldn't give them up for the world. Or that's the bestie I was talking about. When she dies, she better just come right behind me and just hang out on my shoulder with me, because I'm not letting her go that easily. Not at all. Not at all. Tell people, I don't know, what do you need people to know? What do you want people to know, Linda, about you, about your practice, about your abilities as a whole? Yeah.
Well, for me, I may not be everyone's type of medium, and that's okay. For me, my practice, I'm again, like I said throughout this whole session here, I'm more about evidence based, and then at the same time, I'm very compassionate and honest to you, but I'm not gonna say it in a mean way to kind of like disrespect you, but just more like an honest, tough love kind of way,
Sure.
And I just, like I said too, I'm down to be correct if I'm wrong too. So if I'm wrong about something or I misinterpret something, correct me. And I apologize too for misinterpreting the message or the information, I'm down to be
You're
corrected.
human.
Let's see. I don't really like to stroke people's ego. I'd rather give you a message that you need to hear, rather you want to hear. Um, like I said, I'm a very tough love, kind of push you off a cliff until and hope you swim kind of person, because that's how you learn and
Gaslight.
grow and stuff.
That is how you learn and grow. Have you ever had a message given to you that you were like, "Oh, I'm not saying that. Like that's out of pocket. I'm not saying that."
Yes, I have, and then but the only time I do that is whenever I determine whether it's beneficial to you at this moment and stuff. Like I said, when you come to me for a reading, I am 100 responsible for your well-being
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
get that. For their emotional well-being while they're with you. I definitely feel that responsibility, and that it's a weight. It's a weight I love to carry, but it is a weight, because when you are my client and you are with me, I am responsible for the information that I give you that may land a way that I didn't intend it to land, or do something that I didn't intend it to do. So I absolutely get that. I really do get that. Um, have you ever gotten a message that actually was for you in the reading, even though you were reading for a client?
Yeah, I resonate with the message too, but at the same time, that's why I said too that it's important to kind of make it about your client rather than yourself and stuff. Because, like I said, if you
Sure.
start relating to the messages, then it really defeats the purpose, of reading for your client and stuff.
Interesting. As and the reason I ask that question is sometimes in session I'll say something and it's intended for my client, but then it lands harder on me, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, no, that was for me. You can pick it up if you want. If it resonates with you, great, but that was actually more for me. And it's amazing through sessions when you're talking that actually you're healing as well, which is amazing about coaching. I'm sure, have you healed through your practice?
I feel like I'm always healing. For me, what we call it shadow work. I feel like I'm always growing and learning, and healing, just because we're growing every day. And I would love to say I'm completely healed, but I'm not. I still have some
No.
triggers, things I need to work on. And I feel like anybody who says they're 100% healed, they're lying.
Linda, you almost said it verbatim what I say. I say if anybody ever tells you they're healed, run the other way, because they're not self-aware. They're not self-aware. That's hilarious. Yeah, I say I all the time. Any kind of professional in this, industry as a whole, whether it's coaching, therapy, intuitive reading, if they tell you that they're healed, they're not self-aware. Not at all.
Mhm.
Not at all. They're lying to themselves, which is even worse. That's even worse. So that's hilarious that you just said that. I very much agree. I very, very much agree. Um, so we're winding down, and I want people to know whether or not they should contact you. So how would somebody know? What do you have an avatar that you seek out, a target market, a niche that you seek out, or is it, hey, if you're just drawn to me, let's have a conversation?
Um, I think it's just more like who's drawn to me. And the funny thing is, I kind of assign or given my spirit guides a job to do, and I tell them, hey, whoever needs my help, please send them my way. So I kind of give them some job a task to do, and sometimes I'm like, yes, if you're drawn to me, come to me. But I'm very picky of who I read, just because I prefer to have clients or someone who's completely open minded to whoever comes through in their messages. But if you have someone specific, I'm not going to read you just because I have to filter out or push those loved ones already there to the side. And I feel bad for pushing them to the side. I don't want that, you know? So I'm very sensitive to them. So that's why I have a healthy, consistent, good track of reviews and feedback because I know my boundaries and rules. I know what works for me in my reading. And then the only one negative thing that people will say about me or may say about me in the coming future or whatever, I don't really care, is that I'm very strict on time. If you show up 1 minute late, 2, 3 minutes late, you're done. You're blacklisted. There's a reason why we arrange on time and appointment. So that's the only bad thing to say about me.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's consideration. I think it's consideration. And in this day and age of emails, text messages, phone calls, Wi-Fi, like there's no excuse to not call and say, I'm so sorry, I'm stuck in traffic. So I absolutely understand. I wait 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes, session's done. If you're not here and I haven't heard from you, I know I'm not going to slide you in further someplace else. I'm not going to see you late. I'll see you next appointment time. And that is a boundary that was hard for me to set and it's hard for me to keep. But when I do keep it, I feel like I honored myself, which is so important, which is so important. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think that it's a necessity, especially if you are weaving people into your day and, you're telling the children, like I do all the time. I'm like, boys, I'm recording. Don't come out. Be quiet, And so now I'm imposing on them for my dreams. So I get it. I don't want to impose on them if you're not going to show up. It affects more than just your coach or your psychic or, you know what I mean? It affects, you don't know who it affects when you are late and don't call and have consideration. So I don't think that's bad at all. That's not bad at all. So you stream sometimes on Facebook, but where can people find you, look at reviews, kind of get a feel for if you're for them or not?
TikTok will be the most best one to kind of get my
Awesome.
reviews and see a little bit of my mediumship demonstration because I do post a little bit of my mediumship demonstration too on TikTok. On Facebook, on my Facebook business page, you'll see videos from TikTok. So like I said, you can get a hold of me and do video chat and sessions on Facebook, but TikTok is where you see most of my work at.
Beautiful. And what's your TikTok handle?
It's Linda Evidential Medium. And then my Facebook business page is Linda Spiritual Corner.
And all of that will be linked below, you guys. So go check her out. Also, my friends, please do all of the social media things. Like, subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment if you like, share it with somebody else. It'll be 2024 when this comes out. You guys know what to do with social media to show your appreciation for this amazing interview and thank Linda for her time and her energy to spend with us, giving an insight into her life and what she does and how she helps people. Linda, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Let's see. Sorry, I have to think a little bit because we're through a lot of talking. My final thoughts is please be careful who you trust when it comes to getting a reading done.
And so I'm going to kind of piggyback on that. And if you get a feeling, a tummy ache, a neck pain, pressure behind your eyes, a ringing in your ear when you're talking to that potential person, that's a signal. That's a
Mhm.
signal, and you need to listen to it. We have gotten way too far off from our hunter gatherer days when we listened to our intuition in order to survive. We've suppressed it. And I'm getting full body chills as I'm saying this. So that's my um, confirmation. That's kind of what I take that as. And so I know I'm supposed to be saying this. So somebody's listening needs this. Um, Tap back into that. We all need to tap back into that. In this day and age, especially in America, with the GUN rates and all of that stuff, not getting political, but we just need to be situationally aware more. And so, if you can tap back into your intuition, that absolutely will help guide you. So, if you're talking to anybody, whether it's a psychic, potential psychic or not, right? Maybe it's a UPS driver, maybe it's I don't know, somebody that walked into your office and you get those feelings, something's up. Something's up,
Mhm.
and you need to listen to them for sure. What would you say, final thoughts, what would you say about those kind of bodily red flags, basically?
Um, I just feel like there's a reason why it popped up in the first place. The little tingly spidey senses. There's a reason why it popped up in the first place. Um, and here's maybe a little bit tough love right here. If you don't love yourself enough or have a healthy level of self love, you're gonna get scammed. Um, so if you don't have a healthy level of skepticism, discernment, and self love, you're gonna be a victim. And honestly, that's not the psychic or the con artist's fault. It's your fault. So even if, like I said earlier, if the psychics like came off so good and so wow, but during the middle of the reading, if the psychic is not respecting your rules or boundaries, or making or like belittling you or something, make you feel like uh I will just immediately stop the session. Even it's just sometimes people can come off as so good and stuff like that. So like I said, it's so important to listen to that cues. Don't question it. There's a reason why it popped up when it needed to pop up.
Yeah, 1000%. 1000%. I love that we're going to end there because that is super powerful. And there we go. Body chills again. So, yes, we're going to end there. Linda, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time and your energy and your insight and your vulnerability. This has been an amazing conversation, so insightful, so fascinating. So, you guys go check her out. Sorry, everything's in the description below. Go follow her. And you know how much I love TikTok. So I'm gonna be hanging out on her TikTok as well. So say hi if you see me in the comment section. Um, thank you so much again, Linda. Happy New Year, my friend, and Happy New Year, everybody else. Again, thank you for joining me. I just want you to remember it takes a few short minutes a day to rewire your brain for a better life. And if you want to know how to do that, you know how to find me as well. So I love you. Happy New Year. And I'll see you next time.